What is up, you guys? It is your girl Keesh. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today's video is going to be about one of the worst things that has ever happened to me and how it also turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. So it'll make sense when I get to the end, but just keep watching. Let's get started. Okay, so it used to be a part of my job. My previous employer required me to travel a lot, like bi-weekly. I was flying somewhere to do my job, right? Okay, well, in this particular instance, I was in good old Champaign, Illinois. And I know you guys probably don't know much about Champaign, but it's about 2.5 hours from Chicago, okay? And so I'm out there and I'm getting ready for work. I was in an apartment that my job was furnishing for me because I was gonna be in Champaign long term. It wasn't just a 2-week thing. And so I'm getting ready. I am in the shower. I step out of the shower, and y'all, before I could even get my second foot all the way out of the tub, I slip on the bathroom rug. And when I tell you my life flashed before my eyes, I am not saying that just to be cliche. So as I am tumbling towards the floor, I try to catch myself. There's really nothing to grab onto. I'm naked. I'm right there at the in between the bathroom and the kitchen, like I'm falling through the doorway. There's literally nothing for me to grab on to catch my balance. And as I hit the floor, I hear a crack. Like, y'all know the sound. So first of all, y'all know those thick pretzel sticks, like the really, really thick ones. They look like drumsticks. The sound of one of those cracking in half, it's like a sound. That is what I heard on my way down. When I hit the floor, I experienced the most awful, god-awful pain that I have ever felt in my life. So while I'm on the floor, I just remember thinking like, Lord, I know I did not just break my leg. I know I did not just sit up here out of town on a work assignment and break my leg. Maybe it's not that bad. Trying to stand up, right? Genius. So I reach up onto the kitchen counter and I pull myself up, and I'm standing on my leg, and I try to put pressure down on the other leg. Big mistake. There was so much pain that shot through my leg, I almost fell over. And I just remember thinking like, nope, that is a bad idea. So I need medical attention. I need it ASAP. I get on the phone. Mind you, I'm crying hysterically. Like I'm really freaking out. And so I call one of the women that I was working with. Let's just call her Joanne or whatever. And I'm like, Joanne, I hurt myself really bad. I need help. She's like, oh my God, what happened? I was like, I fell. I think I broke something. She's like, do you want me to send an ambulance? I was like, no, right? Number one, because I really didn't want it to be that serious. Like I didn't want to acknowledge the truth that I really broke my ankle. I just wanted to think it was just a sprain, you know? But also number two, and probably the real reason why I didn't want an ambulance, is because I don't want to pay $400 for an ambulance. You feel me? So yeah. But anyway, she's like, okay, I'm gonna send someone up there. We're gonna get you to the hospital. It's right up the street. Right? So she sends someone up, and while I'm waiting for that person to come upstairs, I'm getting dressed. Fortunately, there was some clothes nearby. I just threw on a shirt, threw on a skirt, and I am just like trying to calm myself down because the pain is like, it's getting worse, and my ankle is swelling up really bad. Like there's a huge bulge coming out of the side of my ankle. And so this person comes with one of those rolly chairs, one of those office chairs. And so I get in the chair, and she rolls me into the elevator and out of the building. And so by the time we get to the reception lady, I'm trying to tell her the story. I just feel like she's blowing me off. She's rude. I just feel like everything is just up in flames because of how much pain I'm experiencing. And finally, fast forward to her being rude and me having to wait in the waiting room for what felt like forever. I got to see a doctor, and the doctor was like, okay, well, we'll need to get some x-rays of your leg, but that is going to require us to move it. And I'm like, what? Move my leg? Like, y'all, by that time, I could not wiggle my toes. I could not lift my knee, nothing. So I'm like, okay, before that can happen, y'all need to give me some serious medication to either numb my leg or numb the rest of this, because I'm going to freak if you touch my ankle. And so they shoot some, no. What did they give me? I forgot what they gave me first. I think they gave me a shot or something first. I can't really remember, to be honest. That didn't do anything. It was like 15 minutes went by, I didn't feel anything. And so they were like, okay, well, we're gonna give you something stronger. We're gonna give you Dilaudid. And we're going, and like they shot it up my nose basically. It was like this weird liquid. They shot it up there. And y'all, that stuff works like this. Like, I instantly felt this calming like come over me. Mind you, I'm not the kind of person that takes prescription medications, but I see how people get hooked on prescription medication, okay? Because that was like some serious shit. Finally, the x-ray people come in and they look at my leg and tell me, yep, it's broken. I instantly start to freak out because not only am I out of town, not only am I on a work assignment, but you guys, I had also just recently accepted a job offer. And the job offer had required me to move to Texas. I was living in Florida at the time. It required me to move to Texas within 2 weeks from the day that I had broken my ankle. So I'm like, so I broke my ankle. How long did bones take to heal exactly? And he's like, oh, it's gonna be a while before you're back on your feet. And I'm like, a while as in 2 weeks, a while, or what you mean? And he's like, oh no, it's gonna be a couple months before you're fully back to walking. And even then, it's gonna take some physical therapy afterwards to get your leg back to feeling normal. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of time, I gotta move. And he's like, well, I don't know how you're supposed to move because your leg is broken and we need to operate on it today. And so I'm like, bruh, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, okay, let's go through with the operation because I want to get through this process as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So that day they put 6 screws and a plate in my ankle, and they gave me a stent. And a stent is basically like a temporary cast that they put around your leg or whatever when you have surgery. And so I have all this, and I don't get out of the hospital until maybe like a couple hours later, and they end up sending me to one of the medical supply stores to pick up these scooters. I don't know if y'all probably have seen people rolling around in these, but like the knee scooters where you put your bad knee up, one knee goes up and then you push with your good leg. I'll put a picture in here so y'all can see. But basically I was rolling around in one of those when I got out of the hospital. And my mom, thank God, my mom lives one state over. She lives in Indiana, and so she made the drive over to come pick me up from where I was staying and call my boss and everything, told her what happened, and she's like, okay, you can go home. So I went home with my mom. Oh, backtrack. As we're leaving for my mom to take me home, I look in the parking garage and I realized that the rental that I was driving around, someone had broken into it. And so the whole window was busted out. There was glass all over the floor, and I'm like, can this day get any worse? Okay, what else? What else? I call, what do you call the, I filed a police report and I called Avis. I called Avis to let them know what happened, and they were like, well, we can't get a tow truck out there until in the morning, and I'm like, what? So I'll just leave the keys here with the receptionist person at the front, or the overnight security officer, and he can come get the keys from that person, because I'm going home. I'm not staying here. And they're like, yeah, well, we need you to stay with the car. You have to stay with the car. We can't just pick it up from the security officer. And I'm like, bruh, really? Like, I have to stay another night here? Like, I just want to go home. I want to get in a comfortable bed. I want to have a hot meal. I just really need like some time away from this place. So I end up having to stay another night in that room. My mom, thank goodness, she stayed with me, and we got up the next morning and the tow truck came and took the rental. So anyway, so we went home, and I'm just trying to piece together how in the world I'm supposed to move in 2 weeks to Texas. And so I started game planning, and I'm like looking up moving companies, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can have all of my stuff shipped, like pack up all my clothes, my furniture, everything, have all of that shipped, have my car shipped, and I'll just fly to Texas, like get a suitcase with some clothes that'll last me for a week or whatever, and I can fly. And that ended up being what I ultimately did. When I got to Texas, I had already signed a lease for an apartment and everything, so I had somewhere to live. Obviously, I didn't have my car, so I did have to rely on one of my coworkers. She's a very, very, very nice lady. She came and she helped me to, she picked me up from the airport, and she took me to the apartment complex and helped me pick up my keys and move into the apartment. She took me to the store to get like some toilet tissue and stuff. But thank goodness for her, and thank goodness for my mom, because after I got to Texas, my mom also flew down, or no, my mom is afraid of flights. She took the bus. My mom is like, she is afraid of flights, but she will go to the end of the earth to help me out. So she took the bus to Texas, and she helped me to unpack my stuff, because the moving company also came the same day my flight landed. So they had like brought in a lot of my furniture. The guy was nice enough to set up my bed, so I had somewhere to sleep. So all that was all my belongings were at my apartment. My mom came the very next day and unpacked all the stuff that they left out in the living room, and my car came like 2 days later. Anyways, so in me breaking my ankle and having to go through that whole hellish experience, I realized how weak I was. Like, y'all, trying to function on one leg is extremely difficult, but is made even more difficult when you are drastically out of shape. Like, I was extremely overweight. I weighed 240 at the time, maybe a little bit over 240, but I'm pretty sure it was around 240. And I wasn't working out at all, and I was already having issues with my knees. Like, for whatever reason, I always pop my knees, just like people, like they pop their knuckles or whatever, or their neck or whatever. I pop my knees, and I was having issues with my knees because I was popping them and they weren't popping back into place, and I was experiencing serious pain in them. And I knew it had a lot to do with my weight gain, because it just seemed like the pain had progressed over like the last couple years, the heavier I got. And so I'm like, there's no wonder why my ankle basically snapped in half, because my bones are weak, and it's my body. I know it's because of my body. I know it's because of all the weight that they're trying to support. And so I was like, yo, when I get back on my 2 feet, like, I gotta do something about this. Like, this isn't the life that I want to live. Diabetes runs in my family. I don't want to have to deal with any illnesses. I don't want to have to deal with not being able to have my full mobility. Like, what if I had to get my foot cut off or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not the life that I want to set up for myself. So I need to start doing something to be proactive about taking better care of my body. Functioning on one leg, like, just the difficulties of everything, like going to the bathroom, using the shower, pumping gas, like all of that was a lot of work. I did not have my mom holding my hand in everything that I did. Like there were times where I was by myself a lot and I just had to make it work. And I just remember thinking like, if I had been working out, this would have been so much easier for me. I want to say about 2 months passed, and I was finally able to get my stitches taken out. Thank goodness. And I was also able to get a boot, and the boot was like, it felt like I had won the lottery, because having the boot means that I was able to get rid of the scooter, and I was able to get a little bit more freedom back to do stuff. Like it's very hard to get a scooter into the bathroom stall with you, especially when the handicap one isn't available. So being able to walk on my own 2 feet, even if it was with the boot, was like, hallelujah, you feel me? When I had the boot is when I started going to the gym. And mind you, I'm not walking on the treadmill in my freaking boot. But I was doing a lot of upper body exercises. And that's just kind of how I got started in a workout routine. And then I remember the time came where I was able to get the screws and the plate taken out of my ankle. And so my mom came down, she took the bus again. She took the bus down to help me go into surgery again to get the screws and the plate removed. Had that done, felt like a whole new person, because it was just having that equipment in your leg just makes there's like a tightness, a real tightness in your ankle or wherever you have it, and like you can literally feel the relief coming out as they take the screws out of your bone. So once I had that done, I had to wear the boot for a couple more weeks, and I was able to walk on my leg partially. So like he didn't want me like walking the majority of the day without it, but I could take it off here and there. And so I took that to mean that I could not wear it when I'm at the gym and wear it everywhere else, right? So I started working on the exercise bike, just because it didn't really require me to put a lot of weight on my ankle, and I could just like slide my feet in the pedal things and just, go. And so I started doing that. And then once I got up the courage and I got the approval from my doctor, I started putting full weight on my leg, and I started walking on the treadmill. And I was walking on inclines, and inclines turned into light jogs, and light jogs turned into running, and running turned into where I am today, right? So I'm saying all of that to say that in this entire experience of going from being immobile to losing all this weight and having full mobility again, I learned to appreciate my body so much more. And it's sad that it's not that until things are taken away from you that you realize the value of them and you appreciate them. And so I had the best excuse in the world to not go to the gym, like doctor's orders, right? Like, oh, I don't have to go to the gym. You see this boot? Girl, I will start that as soon as my leg is all the way better. Or I don't have to go to the gym. Girl, I'm recovering from a broken ankle. I could have used that for a long time, because trust me, your bone, like even after the surgeries and having the equipment removed from it or whatever, like your ankle is never the same, or whatever bone you break, it'll never be the same after you break it the first time. My ankle even now it still swells up and it still hurts for no reason. Even when I'm sitting down on the couch, I'll just start experiencing pain shooting through my ankle. And I don't let that stop me. And it's not, you don't have to break a bone to apply the situation to your life. Like whatever you're going through, don't let that stop you. Don't let that be an excuse to not go to the gym. I didn't have a lot of money when I started my weight loss journey. I had medical bills out the behind. I had just moved when I started my journey. So of course I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of time because I was starting a new job. I was trying to get adjusted into that role, I really had the perfect formula to take a break and not concern myself with losing weight or anything like that, but I still chose to make that a priority even in the darkest of times. And so hopefully you guys can apply this to your life and whatever situation you're going through. And if you happen to have hurt yourself and you're recovering from an injury, obviously you want to take it easy on yourself. Don't just think, oh, she went to the gym right after taking her screws removed, I'm gonna go too. Like, no, consult with your doctor first before you obviously do this to yourself. But I'm just telling you my experience and my story, just because me losing weight played a huge, me breaking my ankle played a huge role in me realizing that I needed to lose weight and I needed to get for real about my journey. And it was a catalyst into me becoming the person that you see today in the videos that I put out for you guys today. So hope you felt a little bit inspired. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to drop a question, drop a comment, whatever, leave it in the comment section below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. All right.